Don't talk, don't share, don't offload, don't release. We were messed up from the beginning. As a culture, it was the norm, the social norm. Our cultural context did not beg us to open up or be open. And then the trauma came. So heavy trauma hits, painful experience hits, adverse childhood experience hits, families broken everywhere. Dad's going through it, but dad don't talk. Even mum's going through it and mum don't talk. And kids are going through it. Well, you're meant to be seen and not heard anyway. So kids go through it and they can't talk. So no one's talking, no one's offloading. Everyone's carrying burdens. And when things get heavy, things spill over. So everyone's pain is spilling over. And everyone's going through trauma. That's a wound. And trauma brings pain. And pain hurts. So nobody faces pain, but we're actually going through things that cause pain. And if you can't face the pain and talk about the pain, then the pain's going to become my norm. So then what happened in our community is that trauma became natural. Like we laugh about beats and we laugh about abuse. We actually laugh and joke about these things that happen to us because our trauma became normal. We actually normalized and normalize abuse. It's a joke thing. We laugh about it. And yes, I know, I'm not blaming the past. Our parents, they did their best with what they had. I actually understand that it's never a blame game. Because if you start blaming, then who do we blame first? Because it wasn't my mum that did it first, and it wasn't my dad who did it first. It was his dad, and then he had a dad, and then he had a dad. But I'm letting you know today that you should be saying with me, trauma has been running through my family. Trauma is running through your family. But I'm telling trauma today. I've been telling trauma this. You've been running through my family. But guess what? Let me just straighten up for this one. I told trauma, yeah? You've been running through my family for generations. Guess what, trauma? You're not running through me. How about that? And I want to help people get there. That's what I do. I just want to help men, young boys, girls, women, families, parents. I want to help people to tell trauma, you're not going to run through me like you ran through them. So how can we turn our pain into power? Think about it. Your story brings you pain. Once upon a time, my story brought me pain. Every time I tried to tell my story, I would cry. I couldn't face it. I'd get angry. So I'm delivering my story, and people are looking at me like, yo, like, is brother okay? He seems a bit like he's not got over the things he's been through. And that was the case. I was running with my story, but each time I delivered my story, people were moved. But I would go home and I would cry, and it would hurt me. And I'd feel bad after telling my story all the time. A great man once taught me this. What getting help does, counseling, therapy, talking to someone, they help you to separate the pain from the story. So now when you look at that story, it's the pain that makes it traumatic. So help helps you to separate the pain from the story. That takes time, by the way. It's not overnight. So now when I'm telling my story and they're helping me to see the whys and the whos and the whats, I'm like, wow, that's why. And now my pain's being separated from my story. And now my story left alone is now wisdom. And now my pain story turns into my power story. And now I can use that to save and help someone else.